I'm also like freezing cold. It seems to be a constant. I never used to get cold, but now I'm just cold all the time.
I think it's the older you get.
Ugh.
Imagine it being winter, this brought to you by the Kiwi Gang.
Yeah, it's gotta be weird to have like Christmas in summer.
I mean,
I live in
think
California, so
You'd think so, but considering it's been our entire reality since we were born, you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
I find it more ridiculous that snow exists.
And just period. Full
Is,
stop.
is it just me, or can no one else hear Adrian if he's trying to talk?
Yeah,
I can
I
hear
can't
Adrian.
hear. But anyways, hi everybody, this is Grimcad here. We are back on Wednesday for some Dungeons and Dragons. We are in the Shifting City and the campaign. A homebrew campaign, been going on for like the better part of 2 years now, I believe.
Yep, we've been together nearly 2 years.
Which is pretty
Wow.
exciting. It's sometime in February, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't exactly remember. So I hope everybody had a good Christmas. I had a pretty good Christmas. I got a lot of different kinds of coffees and loose leaf teas, and I got a coffee sock, which I like to describe to people because everybody thinks something disgusting at first. Because I don't know, socks and feet. I don't necessarily think of feet when I think of socks. I think of more like a windsock.
what is a
I think-
windsock?
Like a windsock, where you put it outside and it catches the direction of the wind, so you can tell what direction the wind is blowing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Too many airports.
Right. I have no idea, but anyway, it's really nice, and I'm drinking my cold brew tea. Coffee that I made yesterday with it.
Very nice.
Fantastic, and I felt as if it was worth sharing, apparently.
I mean, that is pretty neat. I got a pair of really bougie shoes for
Yeah.
Christmas.
That's pretty neat. So let us go down the list, however, and introduce our players. We're also getting a little bit of feedback from somebody. I don't know who that's from, but heads up. So let us start with Guts. No, we started with Guts last time. Let's start with Rick. Say hi, Rick.
Hello. Sorry about the hold up. I was just thinking that feedback might have been me, so I was trying to sort it.
Oh, well, that's possible.
I believe it was because it has stopped now.
Oh well, then I've sorted it. Well, hey.
Then let's shift things around and say, Adrian, say hi.
Socks.
Socks. Yeah, like if you say socks plural, I think of socks. Like a pair of socks, but not a singular sock. Tadpole, say hi.
Good morning.
All right, Zydroin, say hi.
The Grinch didn't hate Christmas, he hated people. I identify with that.
And last, but certainly not least, Rick, say hi.
Didn't I say hi first?
I think
Yeah.
you did.
No, wait, you did. Guts, say hi. Wait, did Guts say
Merry-
hi? Oh my gosh, I am.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I don't know.
Grim is losing his mind.
Dee Dee's the one you missed out.
No, I said good morning.
Oh, yes, you did too.
We're all losing our mind.
Everyone's
I-
breaking.
I have excuse. I've been up since 5 a.m., which was an hour ago.
I don't really, because I've been like out and about, but this is my first thing of coffee.
Should I had it earlier?
Well, you have
I
even more
mean-
excuse then,
I
because
know,
you've been
right?
doing stuff without coffee.
Right. That was like driving places and running errands. So. I would hope that I'd be awake for that. Alrighty then, however, let's get right back into it. So, last time, I actually may need a little bit of a refresher on what exactly happened last time. There were some involvement with... You know what? I don't remember.
I did things with tree people. I introduced Bramble folk to Bramble named.
Right. Was last time when we actually fought the mother trees?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. Because we were contacted by the Bramble folk, they came to us running all of a sudden, all that, saying, "Get us to safety," blah 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 blah. So the caravan sort of up and left. Caravan or expedition or what have you, whatever you want to call it, really. Up and left. We were followed by these actual mutated trees mothers, the witch trees. That I don't think we've gotten much of an explanation about them yet.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Yeah, and
I mean, we were told they were corrupted, and we got all the information that they got off us, like they worship someone. But not much more than that.
Yes. We got that. We got that they're rather strong casters.
Yeah.
Things could have, happened a lot worse than actually happened. So I'm pretty pleased with that. There was a moment in time where I do believe one of them was talking specifically with Rick. For one, they apologized on behalf of their master, which was sort of left vague. And, they were cranky, just waking up, things like that. Wouldn't have done it the way they had done it had they been thinking. And wanted to offer you all, I suppose, rather than them, to join him or it or what have you. Rick was rather tempted for a little bit. There was a promise of power there that, was pretty truthful from all things and intents considered. But with a little bit of OOC, talking it out, which, perfectly fine. We decided at the end sort of not to necessarily trust them. We'll see what happens a little bit later down the road, I suppose. I guess, there's some things now that people know about and whatnot. We managed to run. They did not follow us very interestingly past the tangle, even though, they certainly had the ability to, having legs and all. But regardless, something prevented them from doing so. The rest of the trip was mostly uneventful. However, there was a particularly important conversation that we had, and I don't exactly remember whom all it was, to be particularly frank with you, with Troog, in which it was revealed that she, and it was alluded to, that most of the clerics are sort of worshipping the entity known as me, in pretty much secret. It obviously was not information that's known to most of the NPCs, at least, or at least it was certainly presented in that way. We made it back to the end of time. We sort of started going our own separate places just a tiny little bit. As we started talking to people, we introduced Bramble to the Bramble folk. We talked a little bit with Ren. who believes he has, with an entire, maybe not an entire college of wizards behind him, but, you know, a nice little grouping of people. His problem, quote unquote, has sort of been the talk of the last couple of days, and they've been researching and theorizing ways to, again, help him with his quote unquote problem. It was dropped to somebody, although I don't particularly remember who, that, you know, things are now bad out there in the Tangle. The place where they got their specialty food and items is probably no longer going to be a place to get said specialty food and items. So there was going to be a meeting called at Time's Respite towards the end of the day. And I don't think I'm leaving anything out, or am I?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. We haven't really checked on our NPCs or anything like that since. We haven't really checked on most of the other NPCs or anything since, with the exception, again, of Bramble and Ren, I believe. So, there is a meeting sort of scheduled towards the end of the day, which is, you know, in a couple of hours. But we have a couple of hours in the meantime to sort of do what we want. Now, in this intervening time, most of the NPCs, people in the city, I should say, are sort of out and about doing their own thing. They're taking stock of what they've gotten, they're unloading, you know, the displacer beasts, they're checking gear and equipment, doing any little downtime type things that you may do after coming home from, you know, a couple of weeks out in adventuring. So they at least are doing something. Other than Zydroan, who again sort of introduced Bramble with the rest of the Bramble folk, and Adrian, who was speaking with Ren, of course. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to do in sort of these couple of few hours before this meeting actually starts?
I'd like to check in with the hags.
Sure. Now, the hags did come with you, so they're sort of doing the same thing. They're tired. You know, that last little bit was sort of a we are escaping, we are, you know, traveling day and night, and we haven't quite gotten over that yet. There was a couple of days after that, but, you know, you haven't really gotten over that, so they're a bit tired. Is there anything specific that you'd like to talk to them with before, or just checking in with them?
No, I was just checking in, making sure they're okay.
They seem to be fine. They seem to be a little bit shook by the ordeal. Those were castards, the witch tree specifically, that, again, were pretty strong. And it's pretty rare to come up against so many in one place and at one time, and quite so quickly, while they were, and you were all mostly unprepared for it.
Yeah. Well, I'll stay with them for a little while, and I guess I'll pull out one of my instruments and just play and try and get them to relax in the time before we have to go to the meeting.
Jigglypuff plays lullaby.
Yeah, I'll play a lullaby.
As you would be playing, you know, both at least Zoosh and Reg, it would sort of come over. Kif and Vex would more or less do their own thing for the most part. Zoosh is feeling better. She was cured of her affliction, of her I don't want to exactly say personality disorder, but, you know, that's exactly what it was.
Depression.
Right. Well, you know, there's a tiny bit of depression still there. You know, her reasoning isn't, flawed, quote unquote, but it's no longer being sort of magically pressed on her, as it were.
That's good news.
So, in a couple of days at least of rest, you have done her pretty well.
I'm glad she's doing better. I'll talk to her, I guess, after the meeting.
Reg doesn't have too much to say, but I don't know. He seems pleased with himself. I guess these couple of days off, or this change of scenery, is also doing him pretty well.
Okay, that's good. I was getting a little worried.
Well, again, Reg's issue was, more magically enforced on him than anything else as well.
Poor guy.
So, Rick, anyone or anything you would like to follow up on, or?
For the meantime, I'd probably just go around town trying to, I don't know, help unload the displaced beasts, just doing odd jobs around for people.
Okay. One moment. Can I get you to roll me an investigation check while you're sort of doing this kind of thing?
Yeah. Private Eye Rick.
There are some rumors that you're sort of picking up while you're working with, for the most part, the townsfolk. You're sort of at times respite unloading things for the most part, food, sorting things, and then taking things from one way or to another. So you're around a lot of people, and you're listening to a lot of people gossip. And there's been something pretty unusual. Time, as it should be mentioned, has flown. That's a weird way to put it. Has gone a little bit differently for them than for you all. While it's only been a few days for them, it's been 2 weeks or so for you all. But about a day ago, there was a very unusual sort of incident right outside of the Safeway. As I mentioned before, there's sort of what they call the orphanage. People still have children. Children generally need to get raised, and so they need to do so in a place where time isn't, quite so standstill-y or wonky. Some things need to happen where time flows. The orphanage tends to be the place that it happens at. We didn't really stop at the orphanage because we didn't have any real reason to. But at this orphanage, one of the children there has gone missing. And it's pretty rare. It's run by a person called, I believe, Essence. And he tends to run a fairly tight ship, shall we say. So it's quite unusual that there's been this missing child here.
Like male Grellod the Kind type ship, or...
Could you say that again? I didn't...
Is it like a Grellod the Kind from Skyrim?
Oh, okay. I didn't get the reference, but when you mentioned the Skyrim, I got it. No, not like that. This is a person who's doing it, who's volunteering, who generally wants the best for, the children and whatnot. It's not... And you would have picked this up as well.
Yeah, he's just tough on them because, you live in an adventure world where dragons and stuff exist.
Right, and they are in an area that is not quite so safe.
Yeah.
But no, it's Of course, it would take some more poking and prodding, but it is unlikely, at least to the rest of the townsfolk, that it would be something due to him. Tadpole, in this tiny little bit of time, is there anything or anyone you would like to talk with, do with, or anything of this nature?
I think I'm just going to go out and start washing windows.
Okay.
You know,
Just in sort of like random homes?
Yep.
Or...
Yep.
Okay.
starting with the dirtiest I can see.
All right.
And if anybody asks, I will instruct them on the proper way of washing windows.
I just picture like that one thing being completely wrong. Everything else with cleaning, Tadpole does right, but when it comes to window cleaning, she just makes it worse.
So if you started, doing cleaning, and, there's not a ton of windows here in the city. Glass tends to be, at the best of times, kind of hard to maintain. But you're still sort of cleaning. And as you do so, people, clean with you. It's one of those things where if you... I don't know if anybody has this experience, but, like, something that you should have done, and you should have done it, and then someone else starts to do it, you sort of feel guilty for not having done it self. So, of course, you're going to help that person as they're doing it. So, you get a couple of hangers-on sort of doing the cleaning with you. It doesn't necessarily look like it's always the person whose home it is, but, people are saying, oh, well, this is something they're doing for the community. It's a good thing. We should help out.
Very good.
Are you at least casing the joints while you're doing it, Tadpole?
Not to say I'm not. I am evil after all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because honestly, with all this cleaning, you're like bordering lawful good.
There's a reason. There's a reason why I chose windows
Yeah.
and not French porches. Yes. So I guess on that note, if I see any easy marks, just let me know.
Okay. As I mentioned before, there's not a lot of wealth here and there. You can find some things, but it's mostly just something that would be important to a peasant. You know what I mean? Tools, weapons, things like that. It's sort of stowed here and there. Nothing that would be certainly out in the open, for one. But you don't know whether it's just that they don't have stuff, or they're a little bit smarter about hiding it away.
No problem. I'm still happy cleaning.
Sure. Anybody else want to do a final thing before we move on? I'm kind of assuming no, but better to ask. All right.
Oh yeah, I don't personally have anything else.
Then we will move towards time's respite towards the evening. And feel free to bring your tokens on. I've got like a million whatchamacallits to bring on. Treeples. Certainly not everyone is present, but there are a good many here. And I think a lot of you are already up here as well.
Yeah, I'm cleaning glasses behind the bar, apparently.
Yeah, that's where you were before, I believe.
So is this like where we're also staying?
This is where the NPCs were certainly staying, yes. While everybody was out, this is also where you were, because, they happen to have lodgings, and they're not... Well, Lurk doesn't exactly seem to be charging for them. Not to imply you couldn't afford them, but you understand.
I'm gonna make a pyramid out of the cups that Tadpole's clean.
After a while, it looks like most of the people are here, whom are coming to this. This happens to be.
Then I will turn up fashionably late.
You've missed everything.
It's not that I missed it, it's just I didn't come to it.
Bramble's also there, but well. So Kegno and Farron are sort of the two people leading the meeting here. Kegno comes, speaks up. We've been told there's some developments in the Tangle that first I suppose everyone should talk about, because we may have to come up with some ideas. I suppose it's probably best to hear it from the horse's mouth. As you know, we had some outsiders go out on this expedition. They proved themselves to be fairly capable, by all accounts. But, well, I suppose I'll let them explain it. And she sort of glances around the room at any of you. Why don't you tell us what happened during the expedition?
Okay, out of character, does anyone have like a summary?
I mean, I could, but I don't think Zydrone would, honestly. Like, I don't mind being the one to say it. I just don't think it's a character decision that would be made.
No. I mean, like,
Because we're still.
can
trying
anyone
to
tell
play-
me what
play it
happened?
off.
Because I'm so, my head's so empty.
Oh, we went out, we got plenty of supplies and everything, but we also unleashed an ancient evil that we didn't deal with.
Don't mention that we unleashed it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that.
Just say that.
That's why.
Just-
That's what I'm saying. Like,
We're just saying we
Zydrone
discovered.
knows we're trying to keep it secret and everything, but he's also not a liar.
Yeah, we discovered a. What do you want to call that?
I have no problems lying. I'm just not very good at it.
Yeah. We discovered a.
We got
Well,
lots of
this is me just like spitballing to see what do we call it?
supplies.
Bone behemoth.
Oh, no,
Or
no.
a corpse behemoth or something, wasn't it?
No,
Yeah.
don't even talk about that.
And we just ran
Just
into a
completely
few.
ignore the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
That's right.
They really
That's what
want to
we're gonna
talk
do.
about it, and we're just like, what behemoth?
We got
What
some
is-
stone and some
We got
wood
and
and some
wood.
great water. Oh, let me tell you about this water. And I'm going to just go into great detail on the water.
Yeah. All right. So back in character. I guess I'm gonna stand up and be like,
Is my water still good? Really good? That I kept in my white water skin?
Yeah, if you take a swig of it, it's still sort of that tastiest thing, just the best compliment for whatever it is you could possibly imagine. It's
All right.
about as perfect a beverage as can be a perfect beverage without being alcoholic.
So who was asking us about this, by the way?
This is Kegno leading the meeting, asking you all to sort of explain what happened.
I'll pour a little bit of this water in a freshly cleaned shot glass and say, and we got this water. Take a taste.
She takes some and she sips. That is good. That's
And trying to do everything I can to kind of
it's not exactly
Derail the conversation.
surprising because we know it's out there. That's why we go and collect it.
What is it? What is it? What makes it so good?
That I couldn't tell you. But about this meeting and about what happened, I see you're all somewhat reluctant to tell us.
What are you
Not
talking
reluctant.
about?
It's not reluctant. It's just a difficult story to tell.
Not even really that difficult. It's more we don't fully know everything ourselves anyway.
It was kind of hectic out there.
Look at how white my dress came when I washed my clothes in this water.
Right. So while you were out there, you came across the ruins, or this building, or whatever it was exactly. No, Farron's told
Yeah.
us as much.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And while you were there,
There was a big thing.
A big dead thing that
Something
wasn't dead.
right.
I believe they call it undead.
I believe you were right.
And
You
there
wouldn't
was
know anything
this
about that, we-
large undead thing that I believe you fought first, because I believe you came back rather beat up. And then from
well-
there,
Well, I was the only one that got beat up because these guys, they're meant to be my friends. And when I got locked behind the door in the room with that thing, they just left me.
That is
yeah,
not what happened.
That's how that went down, was it? Okay then, we will remember that.
That's
I
wrong.
got so fucked up. He's still salty about that.
Oh, for his own mistake, running into the room by himself.
Yes.
technically,
Why
and
would
I would
why
like
would
to
you
say-
let me do that?
I mean, do we want to try and risk a deception roll with so many people who can just roll against us, or should we just tell them?
I would tell the truth.
Oh, lie through your teeth. Let's let Bones lie through her teeth. She's the best at it.
Yeah, she probably would be.
All right.
I,
Well,
We know of his existence, but as far as we know, it's been in time for millennia. It's probably passed to dust by now.
she
and just left its
continues.
taint.
yes.
A few
But
days
he's-
later, you went back towards it. This
One, two-
ruin. And you told them, I believe Farron and the others, that it was handled.
No. We said that we could not find any trace of it aside from a taint left on the earth.
You guys definitely said it was handled.
is that,
I distinctly remember that.
We
No,
did.
He failed to word it properly.
Sorry. I have no brain. I have no recollection of that ever happening.
You were very vague with it, but you
Are
were
you-
like, it's been handled, because you didn't want to say you killed it, because you had it.
So she asked if we had killed it, and we said that we could only find a taint on the earth of it, or the taint of the land on it.
We did say we handled it. We did say we handled it. However, doesn't mean we have to say that we said that.
just because we said we handled it doesn't mean we handled it. Jeez.
No, we were talking about we handled the water.
Continuing on in character. After another few days, there was this great sort of corruption spreading through the forest. Can you explain a little bit more about that? What's your take on that?
It was
That one
undead.
confuses. It just
The spread of undeath, as if something was radiating negative energies or something.
And it just spread throughout the entire, well, I suppose you can't say whether it spread throughout the entire tangle, but it certainly seemed to, didn't it?
As much as we saw.
Yes.
But I mean, we only had a mile circle to deal with.
Yeah, and then the Bramble folk. Where do they come into play through all this? There's this corruption spreading through the Tangle. The Bramble folk show up.
I mean, that's more of a question for you guys. You're the ones that have accords with them and dealings with them. We
She
dealt with
holds
them.
up a hand. She goes, I'm not trying to entrap you in sort of things. I understand you're being suspiciously wary of your conversation through this, but we're not necessarily sitting blame. We're trying to find out what happened exactly from someone else's perspective and point of view.
Well, apologies then, because me and Farron butted heads at one point, and I just want to make sure that me and my party are not going to be held accountable for things that were not necessarily in our power to stop.
What he's saying is we don't want to be strung up by our legs.
I mean, I'd like to see them try, frankly, but yes.
She mentioned an argument, but the argument seems mostly irrelevant to the goings-on that...
It is, but I do not really know Farron. I don't know if she's the vindictive type or the type to twist words.
She shakes her head and she shrugs. Farron does. You don't have to agree to help each other out.
I mean, we seem to do pretty well with helping you out on your expedition.
Right. Just because we don't agree on something or we have an argument doesn't mean I'm out to get you.
I'm not saying that you are or aren't, for sure. I'm just saying that we have our own worries that we need to, I guess, worry about as well. And as I said, I just want to make sure that me and mine are not being held accountable.
Well, I don't think it can be denied that you have some level of accountability for this.
We will agree to disagree.
But either way,
It
the Bramble
seems-
folk. This is Kegno as well, speaking up over. What happened?
They were running from some kind of mother trees or some kind of matriarchs in their society who have seemed to have been corrupted by this negative energies. We encountered them, and they are not exactly something to be trifled with, though they still seem at least somewhat mortal. They're only tree beings after all. Fire still deals good amounts of damage to them. They know some powerful spells. They seem to have, as I said, been twisted by the dark energies or whatever is spreading through the rest of time.
They also said that they, I believe they said they are undead. I mean, I'm not sure if they use those exact words, but just from what they said, it's kind of what I gathered.
They are most certainly undead. My spell had no effect to them whatsoever.
She nods and she turns to Adrian, who happens to be right next to her, and in a whisper, she asks you, in a straight fight, could you take them?
Who is she specifically asking about?
You. These witch trees.
I mean, it seems like they have a lot of high-level druid abilities, but they're tremendously weak to fire, it seems like. At least their creations are.
So a yes or a no?
ideal circumstance.
This is just to Adrian, because
I would
this
cut
is under
the
a
fuck
whisper to,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so as not to get everyone else.
I like shake my hand. I could probably take more than 2 on in a fight, realistically. What there's seems to be at least half a dozen or more of them.
Right. So from there was some business with the Accords. They asked you, or asked us, I suppose, to get them to safety. And you did so. And as you were leaving, however, this corruption, it was continuing to spread. Yes?
As far as we can see, I mean, we were more focused on what was ahead of us than behind us.
As I assume, but it also didn't look like it was coming out of, well, what you would call the tangle. It seemed to just get to the edge and stop. Now I'm not just sure if that's time moving differently outside or what was happening there, but it seemed to have stopped.
So leaving the tangle, these things, these creatures, this corruption didn't seem to follow.
Not even
You broke up a little bit. You said not even the...
not even the sentient, the trees, not even the witch trees or whatever they were called, came out. They could have. They had legs. They could have just walked out like we did, but they didn't.
Well, I suppose that's some modicum of mercy. So, there it is, everyone. Chances are the Tangle is not a place where we can get supplies anymore. We'll have to start thinking of what else to do. And then the room sort of explodes into, arguing, shouting, talking, and just plain old conversation. To say the least, things are abuzz.
Well,
Kind of lean back against the bar and just sigh and, guts. These guys, just because you're like the only one close to me, these guys don't really seem like they would have done too well in the old city, do they?
no, not at all.
They
Wonder
don't
how they
seem
got
to
this
like
far.
change.
Mm-mm. But I guess thinking about what are we gonna do about the Tangle? Do you think there's anything we can do?
I mean, I
Yeah,
imagine there would
slowly.
be plenty we can do, but do we want to? I mean, I don't much fancy being hit by those trees again, as survival as it was. It very well could have not been, and I mean, nodding in Adrian's direction, he, I doubt, could take a full blast from them. I
Yeah.
would be loath to lose, I mean, one of you guys. I know I have not been with your party for as long as you've been with each other, but, I mean, it's been a decent traveling time in the meantime, anyway.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, this is a nasty spot we've gotten ourselves into.
I mean, yes and no. We can always go see what's happening on the other side of the time veil thing. Although, I guess, not easily is the issue. We can't just abandon as easy as we would usually.
That is true.
But
And I'm
by
not
now,
sure I
I've
would.
sort of walked over to join your guys' conversation, and I'm like, I mean, if we don't want to abandon them, there's plenty of other places around. Like what if we just found somewhere else like the Tangle to collect from?
Well, I imagine they would have thought about that before we even turned up, before anything like this happened. Chances are they used the Tangle because it was the safest or most convenient to use.
So around about that time, as you mentioned that, Orstat, who we've met before, sort of starts pounding on the table and doing what he can to shout above everyone else. It's a simple solution. I don't know why you're worked up with it. We go somewhere else. That's all there is to it. Yes, the Tangle was the safest. The Tangle had the most efficiency for gathering things, but there's 100 miles of city around us. It's certainly possible to get things from other places. It just involves rolling up our sleeves and doing it.
I'm in.
And again, that sort of just evolves, or possibly devolves, into more sort of shouting and arguing and whatnot. And he eventually shouts, "You can dislike it all you want, but what other option is there?"
I kinda just want to call all these people pussies and that they never would have survived the old city.
Back in my day,
Yeah,
Well,
back
you
in
know,
my day,
that's...
we did this every month, motherfuckers.
Sure, but by the same token, you were the few and far between who did this every month. You know,
Yeah.
for the vast majority of the citizens, you know, they would just walk and grab their free food every day and squat, you know.
Yeah.
That was pretty much their life. Eventually, amid jeers and boos and shouts and whatnot, Orsted mostly sighs, stands up, he walks to the counter and asks for Lurk to get him something to drink. He certainly sees this as being the only option, and it's mostly just the townsfolk not wanting to consider it as an option.
that's on them. That sounds like a them problem.
Well, I'm not good at the whole persuading, but I could totally intimidate the townspeople into listening to him if you wanted me to.
Well, I can
Yeah.
try and persuade them.
I think we should try and persuade first.
Seeing as somehow my intimidation is better than Rick's.
It's because intimidation.
Runs off charisma.
Charisma, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
I guess
that
I'll-
unusual.
I guess I'll hop up on one of the bar stools and kind of try and shout above the din. Aren't any of you just the least bit curious about anything outside of the Tangle? Like,
Do
you have
people
no
seem to be
idea
listening
what's
to
out
us?
there.
You know, she's trying to be overheard, but
Well then,
Wait,
I
let me.
let out- I
Wait,
let
should
out
I grab
a
my?
booming goddamn roar and tell people to shut the fuck up and start listening.
that's pretty good. I'm not going to pose a role or anything. But sort of people are momentarily taken aback by you. For the town, most parts. Lurk, in particular, sort of looks at you and starts chuckling under his breath.
If no one has any better ideas, I suggest you listen. Guts. You were saying.
Thank you. Well, I'm just saying, aren't any of you the least bit curious of what else is outside the Tangle or outside the city? Like, there's probably so much untapped potential there, and you guys aren't willing to go get it?
There's a shout from somewhere in the crowd. Yeah, there's a lot of monsters out there. There's a lot of death out there. That we know for certain.
So,
And what are monsters made out of? Food.
food, flesh, stuff you can get. And if you don't, and there's death everywhere. If you don't work, if you don't work to find ways around this, you're already dead. It's either find an alternative or die. So I guess you need to take your pick of which you want. And I don't know about you, but I am more than willing to brave that wilderness out there.
Look at her.
So should
she
you.
doesn't even have guts, and her name is Guts, and she's got
Yes,
more guts than
ma'am.
you.
Yes, sir.
As an aside, of course it's not
'cause-
obvious that she's a skeleton at first
I know.
glance. So.
Of course, you know, she's got way more backbone than all of you guys.
Oh, that's a serious burn. That's vicious mockery right there.
The druid learns vicious mockery.
Should I roll persuasion?
If you want
ahead.
to choose death, do you mind?
As well.
13. How do people? How?
Great charisma.
Oh, it was already up. Orsted speaks up and he goes, obviously she's the only right. We can bicker and we can fight and we can not like it or anything like that, but unless you want to leave through the Shimmer, this is pretty much the only option. It's not a food thing, we all know that. Look, if you want to be stagnant and whatnot, just head on over to the other side of the city. No one cares. But here, this is a chance to do something. We could actually go out and do something. We don't have to just sit here and laze about and live these lives of whatever it is. It's not even of excess. It's just a ritual that we've all gotten into. We don't need to do it.
Look at this place. It's basically a shanty town. We could all move. We could all just...
He runs. Has terrible charisma as well. Which probably does more hurting than helping.
I mean, he has a point, but
Right. But again, he sort of ends his little rant with, again, unless you want to go out and try to fight whatever this undead thing is, or you want to leave, those are pretty much the only two options. And again, you can shout, you can yell, you can feel sorry about yourselves all day long, but what else are you going to do? This isn't a thing that we are necessarily going to fix for you. You have to rise up, fix it for yourself. And he downs the last of his water. He sort of stands up, he spits on the floor, much to Lurk's displeasure, and then leaves.
Probably Tadpole too, let's be honest.
Probably Tadpole too.
And that was Orsted, you said, eh?
This was Orsted, yes.
Yeah. So I like Orsted.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Is he?
I didn't like him at first when I saw him.
well, he's got guts. Eh.
But so again, the meeting had already pretty much devolved into, shouting and whatnot, and people worrying and wailing. but it sort of continues. Kegno seems to make an effort to lead the conversation around, but she's mostly just leading in circles.
Kigno's like the sort of leader of this place, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna just basically go up to her and say, well, unless there's anything else you desperately need of us, I think we shall retire for now and come find us once you and your people decide on what you're doing. There's not much we can do except add to the shouting, and we have nothing to shout about personally, I believe.
Oh, well, Orstat's right. I mean, there's really only one option. And of course, she's speaking low at this point. This is more or less people just shouting it out.
Yeah. This lot here need to come to the conclusion. There's not a lot we can do here now.
She sort of chuckles. I mean, come to the conclusion or not. It's really the only way.
I just shrug and, yeah.
But still, for all that may have happened, you did a fairly decent job out there.
I love how they try to make out like it's our fault without just straight saying it. It's not our fault, man.
It is.
Maybe
It's
your
indirectly.
fault.
We didn't know that thing was fucking there.
I mean, you did.
What?
We kind of did, because the druid was like, I'm going to talk to nature and see if there's any big powerful things.
Yeah.
And then we were like, let's go towards the big powerful thing.
Right?
But we didn't know exactly what it was.
We didn't think we would release an abomination on the earth.
Exactly.
I think they're just overstating the danger, just slightly.
But with that, and if she has nothing else to say, I'm gonna go to not even one of the rooms, I'm gonna go find a place outside, possibly with the tree people, unless they're staying here.
They're not. They're much less a part of this conversation. They were not called upon to do anything, so they didn't exactly volunteer anything. And obviously, they don't exactly have a stake in this matter. Exactly. But either way, yeah. If you are planning on staying sort of in the place, this sort of continues well into the night. People are loud, people are upset, people are scared, people are angry, and so, people are shouting. It's pretty much the long and the short of it.
Very, very.
For Zydrone, it's more just a disdain for how weak the populace is seeming at the moment. That's why he's kind of not dealing with it. He's just like, well, you guys want to be pussies, you can deal with it. Come find me when you want to do something about it.
Most of the leaders, again, quote leaders, because we've seen they actually are the leaders, came to the same, not necessarily decision, but realization that Orstat and you all sort of pressed to long ago, and sort of made their efforts to either convince the townsfolk or just sort of disappeared at some point. A person only has so much patience listening to bad arguments, as it were, before they're just fed up and leave. But again, the actual sort of meat and potatoes of it goes on for quite some time.
And even though I said, it sounded like I was talking for the party, I hope someone else from the party stayed there. I was actually intending to be like, right, everyone, let's go.
Well, I believe just you left. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Zydron definitely would.
Nobody else said they were leaving, so.
No, but yeah, that's what I was saying, like, because I made it sound like the entire party was going to
Oh,
leave.
no. But that does mean, what do other people do?
Hmm.
Do we want to sort of spend our time convincing the rabble? Are we not concerned about it? Or what?
I think I'd like to try and convince some more people. Or at least attempt to.
Rick, Adrian, Tadpole, anything in particular?
No, I'm just enjoying the chaos and watching others do it while I spit clean the glasses.
Nothing really in particular. I might help Guts with her convincing, but I'm not great with charisma, so I'll probably just be standing around in the background looking cool.
Fair enough. Tadpole, give me a perception. And then go ahead and give me an insight as well. While you're doing this, you also sort of notice, and it's fairly plain if you know what you're looking to or for. You get the impression that Lurk thinks this is all great fun. Like the entire thing, the rigmarole. While he is sort of, doing things, hustling, bustling, food, waters, and all of that, you sort of get the impression that this is all just a show for him, and he is quite enjoying the show.
Okay. I'm kind of enjoying it as well, but
Of course, the midgets would.
So if we're sort of helping around persuade, can I get another persuasion check from you, Guts? Your last one was awfully good, but just sort of one more throughout the evening, and we'll go ahead. Well, I mean, we don't need to put that one in advantage, really. But you feel pretty good about it, and eventually, I mean, it's a lot of shouting on everyone's parts around. You think everyone starts to come around. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody else has any options. And it's one of those things, they're not desperately seeking food exactly. There are mages there. I believe there was some talk about Adrian sharing, creation of foods and all sorts of things, and some building items, fabrication and whatnot, spells and all that. So they're, kind of set for the basic, we're not going to die things. But it's more sort of, well, what do we do? Where are we getting these luxury items from and all that? They've become accustomed to a certain standard of living, as it were. And the only way to maintain that is to go out and try to find somewhere new.
Can they even
Yep.
move this? I mean, I don't think it's been touched on, but and if needed, I'd go talk to someone about it. But can they even move the safe zone that they've got, or is it more of they're just looking for somewhere to be able to travel to?
I don't think it's been touched on.
Well, then, at some point during the night, I'd try and find someone of higher standing, maybe Orsted again, and talk to him about it since he left as well.
You're going to talk to whom about it?
Orsted.
Okay.
He was the one that left the bar and was agreeing with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So once we're done with everything in the bar, that's what probably after an hour or two after I leave, I'll probably go to see if I can find him.
Orstat.
Like I said, it can wait till we're done with the stuff in the bar first. Deal to this and round this out first.
Well, let me ask this question then for those in the bar. Is there anything else that we would like to do with those in the bar? Again, we're sort of feeling better, as in the townsfolk, about this sort of, well, yes, we kind of understand we're going to have to go out and do this sort of thing now. Do we want to sort of keep on with it, or are we good?
I think I'm good to go.
Okay. So. Orstat is in the Outers Hall, which happens to be one of the larger buildings that's sort of set up. It's less like a room, as it were, or even a tavern or something like that, and more of a large multi-purposed building. People likely live here, they eat here, they do all sorts of this, that, and the other here. If you would like, you can pull your token on, and you would be led... Whoops, that's not how you reveal things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've only got, like, a small corridor and 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Or a couple of rooms.
Just sort of a large... what looks like a public room, as it were. Orstat, and... oh my gosh.
Ah! It's a giant
and a few others are there. And you're led through without,
Why is she so big?
behemoth guts.
because you are like pulling your token and not from the like little line, I believe. Here, let me go ahead and
So I'm sorry, missed. We're going someplace?
Yes, we are going to see Orstat now. At the very least, Zydroan, and after a while, Gutses as well.
Okay, so not all of us.
No, if you wish to tag along, if you wish to do something else, feel free. But again, it's getting pretty late in the evening at this point. The meeting was at evening. It lasted for quite a while. But it's mostly broken up. Again, Gut sort of worked her magic and sort of persuaded the rest of the townspeople to feel more sympathetic to the idea of, well, I mean, what else are you going to do? You got to go out if you're going to go out. So again, there are several adventurer types sort of out here as well. At the Reclaimers outpost, or whatever it's called. Not the Reclaimers, the Outsiders. And Orstat is there. When you get in, you're sort of ushered into a common room, past all sorts of hallways and rigmarole and whatnot. He's sitting down, he's eating and drinking with a couple of his subordinates, not necessarily friends. And he sees you when you come in, and he nods to you.
Greetings. I don't think we're officially properly met. I'm Zydron.
Good to meet you. I'm Orstat.
Yes. You also seem the more level-headed, possibly wiser of, I guess, the heads of this community. I mean, you saw the at least base logic of our discussion earlier and what may need to happen.
What other option is there? I mean, the long and short of it is, Again, what else are you going to do? This is mostly what we do anyways. This is the reason why I started this. I mean, someone's got to go out, someone's got to find out what's out there. No use just sitting on your laurels, as it were.
Exactly, and I mean, as you've probably heard or figured out, me and my group are from before everything happened. We were in the old city.
He sort of waves and dismisses that. I don't know too much from the before or the old city. It's a time from before I was even around.
Yes, it seems to be the case with honestly everyone we've encountered on this side of the Shimmer, and it certainly makes things, I don't want to say difficult, but different. But I came to speak to you to see what kind of capacity this area or this commune, I guess, what kind of how you guys can move. Is it possible to move these buildings and everything, or is this safe zone in time locked to this area, or as the clerics were casting their spells as we were out and stuff, is there something akin to that here?
He drums his fingers on the table a little bit and sort of bites his lip. Well, the safe zone is what it is. This isn't something that's been created by us. It just happens to be here. I mean, if you're getting into the whys and hows of the timey-wimey, you're probably much better talking to the mages. I mean, look, there's nothing... Maybe that's a bad way to put it. We could lead more of a nomadic lifestyle. The clerics can do the spell. There's enough of them, they can shift it around. Miles, a fairly good clip. There aren't that many of us here. If that's what you're asking. That said, that'd be a lot of convincing people to try to do. What end, really?
I'm not asking if people would want to, if they could. It's more of a, is it possible if it's a necessity?
Is it possible? Sure. I think so. Part of the reason, we hold out here is there are a lot of the other townfolk who are from the before times, we call it, They're sort of just holding out hope that this is going to end eventually. They've got family, they've got loved ones somewhere on the other side. They don't want to go out to where time's different and, be the only one that you've ever known, and everyone else around you dies while you just keep on, as it were, which I can understand.
Yes, I guess that would make people loath to change in as ideal circumstances you can get in a situation like this. Although I suppose for a lot of you, such as you, the ones who did not know the city before everything happened, I guess it might be a bit different for you lot.
Yeah, well, most of the old city people are pretty complacent with what they're doing. They're not used to this level of danger or whatever. But for us new city folk, I mean, that's been It's been a fact of life and all we've known, really. That's why so many of us found our way up into, leadership positions. I think, Lurk and maybe Kegno are the only two from the old city.
Oh, really?
I think. I mean, it's not something we talk about a ton, but...
Yeah, that I wouldn't have actually said that in character. That
Sure,
was just
sure.
me exclaiming, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure who was actually from Old City and everything. Ah, so there are still at least some worthwhile people to speak to from out. I mean, not to cast ill light on the rest of them, but frankly, as you said, a lot of them are complacent, and it was exactly the same in the old city as well. You'd have groups like mine who would do essentially what your clerics and gatherers do, but on a almost larger scale a lot of the time.
So you mentioned the clerics, and his face sort of it darkens. The clerics.
You do not see eye to eye with them?
I don't necessarily like to be lumped in together with them.
Oh.
There's...
Don't worry. Religious figures, I don't lump them in with the non-religious figures. I know they're a different breed. They're a sect of their own.
Right. Yeah, they've... Yeah.
Generalization.
There's something behind them. They've got their own agenda. And...
Do you not?
I do, but I don't think I would damn everyone else to complete my own agenda. I have the very distinct feeling that the clerics would.
Well, that at least lines up with my thoughts on them as well, then.
Is that a truthful thing or a less than truthful thing?
No, that's what Zydrone believes as well.
Okay.
His headbutting with Farron and everything else, what happened while we were out and what they spoke about and how they spoke. He's definitely at least weary about the clerics. I wouldn't say he'd be openly hostile or as disdainful as Orstat seems to be, but it would definitely be like he can agree with Orstat that they might not be on the up and up as far as they're saying. Well, so what is the relationship with, I guess, the other high-standing figures and these clerics? I mean, how much pull do they really have? Is it just a factor of they keep everyone out of time's touch, so they have the power, or are they actually respected even by the people outside of their, for lack of a better word, church?
He spits on the ground again. Look, not to beat around the bush, they got the power. Not necessarily martial or military power, mind you, but, I mean, they keep you from going out and never returning.
Yes.
As for what the common folk think about them, I couldn't exactly tell you.
Well, I can't remember. Did we get told what Orstat essentially presides over or controls in this area?
You do. Orstat, actually, he goes out, he explores. He's the one who determines what areas are safe and whatnot. He does the trailblazing, as it were. And then Farron's group, does the follow-up past that.
So yeah, so Zydrone would definitely be pretty keen on this guy because he's not a little bitch like a lot of the other people. But if they hold that much power and their ideals are not exactly the best that could be worrisome in the future, especially if things don't work out the way they like. And I'm not going to go back over it all, but I will, unless Guts has turned up by this point and stops me, I would tell him more fully on what happened, not necessarily with the Grave Behemoth, but the altercation between me and Farron and the generalness of what happened more fully than what we gave the overall group. But I would still not straight blurt out and say, the behemoth is definitely alive. We know it's alive and it is our fault. Like, I'm not saying that to him, but I'd let him know a bit more about what happened.
I guess that's really more of a question for Guts. I mean,
yeah,
like as he starts to talk about these sort of sensitive things, would you stop him or?
Guts.
I am so sorry, what?
Fine. I'm telling Orstat about some of the more sensitive things, like the argument me and Farron had and stuff like that. Would you stop me? I'm not telling him about the Grave Behemoth or anything like that. Just more so what happened with the clerics and Farron and stuff.
No, I wouldn't stop you.
Yeah. Well, in that case, I would let him know that, Farron and the clerics quite obviously have no concerns whatsoever with condemning people if they don't align with their ideals, especially if it comes to the fixing of what happened in the Shattering of Time.
I'm not entirely surprised. It's a fairly comfortable life. Farron has as you can imagine, being the head of the Reclaimers, she doesn't necessarily live the comfortable life. She goes out. She's not necessarily afraid of danger. But and he sort of shrugs. She sort of protects the little people too much. She thinks it's a responsibility for her, since she can, that she has to. Now, I'm more of the sort that thinks, the little people can toughen the fuck up. But
clap my hands together and thank you. Someone else who agrees.
But that's where it is. I mean, personally, she has a reason for existing, if you know what I mean, but
I like your stat. You seem a lot more together than some of the other heads around here.
Well, typically I don't even spend too much time around here. I tend to be out and about, doing what I like a lot more, but it is what it is.
I'm just happy to see someone else who's proactive. But I basically touched what I wanted to with him. Touched on what I wanted to. Was there anything you wanted to ask or talk about, Guts? Was there anything else you wanted to ask or talk about with Orstat? Because I touched on what I wanted to with him.
No, I think you got everything I was thinking about asking.
What have these other two been doing this whole time? Just listening to us?
Listening.
Have they reacted in any major way?
No.
I assume if they're with Orstat, they're obviously not clerics or anything.
Right. No. They definitely work for Orstat.
Yeah.
And it is likely that they have similar views.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, I'll insight them to check if they react when I'm talking about the clerics and stuff. If I need to, but if they are actually just loyal to Orsted, then
No,
I'm
yeah.
fine with
Mhm.
them. Well, with that, Orsted, I thank you for your time.
There is one more thing. In sort of the
Yes.
spirit, I don't know if you've heard some of the rumors, but while you were gone, there's been, well, what I deeply suspect there to be some murders of some children in the orphanage. This isn't something that... Well, obviously, I suspect they are murders. Not necessarily everyone does, but with that in mind, there are several of you to the town that are fairly new.
Would Rick have told us yet? Like,
Probably
'cause
not.
he did say that he would tell us when he had linked back up with us, but at the same time, we basically all met in the tavern and got
Yeah.
into that
Mhm.
discussion. Yeah. So yeah, these would have been the first I was hearing of these rumors. So, well, that is different, I guess. Even
I'm not exactly pointing fingers, you understand, but I would certainly appreciate it if you were to look into things.
oh, that's fine. Do you have any starting leads or any ideas of who or what it might be yet, or is that unknown?
Talking to Essence, there's very little evidence of anything.
Nothing
Uh,
that would possibly help us?
No signs of a monster breaking in. If it were that, no signs of locks being picked or anything like that. No suspicious footsteps, or footprints rather. Nothing.
Well,
That's-
let's go undercover at the orphanage, guys.
Let's do it.
I cannot promise my party or anything, but I will at least have a look around in my free time, and I'll talk to the rest of the group about if we can possibly at least find out some more about what's going on. But I imagine we may be called upon, or at least wanted, for the rest of the issues going on. Seeing as it seems some people have the disposition to believe that we're at fault.
He sort of grins, which is a weird thing to do considering his mouth structure. Yes, I see. But again, you see to this thing for me, and perhaps I can see to it for you that there's suitable deflection.
Sounds good. Well, with that all set, and I did not get your two names, but nice being in your presence, I suppose. I will come talk to you another time, preferably with at least some news about what's going on one way or the other.
Indeed. Good luck to you. And again, also, thanks for your bit of help there back at the meeting.
What we do.
We do what we can.
Indeed. All right, and then
And
everybody
with
takes a couple of minutes because I have to go to the bathroom and then refill
Yeah,
my
same.
coffee.
But with that, I would give a slight bow and leave as well. I assume Dragon Guts with me.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
I shall be back also.
And I will be back as well.
What?
Huh?
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 What is sleep?
Who even knows?
I'm back. Who else is here?
What?
Adrian, me,
Adrian, Guts,
I'm here.
Tadpole.
Dee Dee.
I mean, I'm here, but I'm downstairs.
Oh, so it's only Grim that's not here. Right, time to overthrow the game, guys. Let's go.
Okay, so it's the year 2045.
Yep.
Night City was just nuked 20 years ago.
I've been playing Cyberpunk too.
So should we go check out what's happening at this orphanage?
Yes.
Can we take all the children?
I don't know. I reckon we'd have to kill them first so you can resurrect them, and then you can have baby skeletons.
I just wanted apprentices, but okay then. So if they can't age, are they just forever children? What if they've been children for thousands of years?
I think that's why Grim was saying the orphanage isn't set in this area. It's set in an area where time flows a bit more normally, so
Magic.
that children can still age and everything. Or else, yes, I think that would be an issue.
Not forever children, like forever puppies.
You've seen Whitest Kids You Know as well.
Alright, I'm back. Is anybody not back?
No,
Is being accurate.
Fraser's or Mufasa's not at the computer, but he's here.
Okay. Alright, so I'm presuming that with that sort of conversation out of the way, it's, late. Everybody else is going to sort of retire until the next morning.
Yes, I
Yes.
wouldn't be
Okay.
doing much. Do I know where the orphanage is?
Yes, it is right outside the, quote, safe zone.
Okay.
So it is the next day. Everybody gains the benefit of a full rest. I cannot remember if we still had some lingering exhaustion, but we no longer have this lingering exhaustion if we still did.
Is that a type
Yay.
of coffee?
Say what?
Is that a type of coffee?
Lingering exhaustion?
Sounds like some pretty shit coffee.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go for it. Oh, speaking of, as an aside, my Walmart is now carrying that that whatever death coffee, the Death Valley coffee that we kept on
Yeah.
using to mention a while ago. I haven't bought it yet because, man, I drink too much coffee when I drink coffee, but I thought that was pretty funny that now it's becoming mainstream enough for Walmart.
That's business for you.
That's business, I guess.
Yep.
People like that 500 times coffee. Woof.
Well,
Yes, sir.
whenever the party links back up, I would tell them everything about the discussion with Orstat.
Okay.
And what are we doing today, guys?
Good question.
I might go check out the orphanage at some point.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'll go with you if you do that.
Yeah.
Not to sound sad, but it's not even for the sake of the children. It's more so we don't get blamed for the behemoth. I want that good word, man.
All right. So people are up early, not just you, sort of today. And as we are getting up, and, to be frank, we're up pretty early as well, people are sort of gathering at the parade grounds. And it is fairly obvious after, a couple minutes of watching them, that most of these townsfolk and these quote-unquote leader NPCs are sort of here to train up the populace. Whether we're sort of working with the common people in magic, whether we're working on martial skills or things like that, whether we're even trying to indoctrinate people into the clergy, as it will. A lot of the people, NPCs, are again sort of training the townsfolk. It looks like everyone is getting trained in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Rick, go train them.
Is anyone playing the Make a Man Out of You montage during this?
No. Can I train them to do backflips to intimidate their enemies?
You can try.
Seeing as my skills really aren't that transferable.
Mine are who wants to learn how to touch dead people.
Yeah, like Adrian and Rick are more the ones that can actually do the training for people.
Yeah, if anyone wants to get taught in anything martial, I can help out with training.
Teach them to be really angry, Rick.
So this would be an aside to going and scoping out the orphanage. You know, whomever would go out and scope the orphanage, and other people would stay back and do the training. I mean, you can stay back and do other things if you wish as well, but... so we'll put it like this. Who would like to go and scope out the orphanage?
Me.
Okay.
So they've told us about what's going on there, right? The share with us at the party?
Yes. Zydroan has. I don't... Rick has as well, because Rick said he was going to share the next time we met, I believe.
Yeah,
so...
I did just type it, though. I didn't actually mention, say it out loud. But yeah, I did want to tell everyone what was going on.
Well, I mean, if you need help, I can go. I'll gladly come help. I'm pretty sneaky.
See, I was thinking
Honestly,
about going into checking out the orphanage, but after seeing these guys and they're just randomly flailing swords around, yeah, I think I'll stick back and train some.
It's got to
Yeah,
be mentioned that at the very least, you know, the NPCs aren't bad to varying degrees at what they do, but
They're not
And
adventurers.
the townspeople at least have a certain level of competence. You know, it's militia levels, sort of. Like, this isn't an out-of-the-blue thing. This is a routine that's been going on for quite some time. So everybody sort of has an idea. It's not like, you know, they're hitting each other with their swords, or themselves with their swords, or anything, you know. I didn't mean to imply that they were, if that's what you got from it.
No, I didn't think they were doing that. It's just that they're nowhere near as good as me, so they obviously need my training.
Right.
They're nowhere near as good as any of us. Like, well, maybe a couple of them, but yeah. We're level 10 adventurers, man. We're halfway to being worldwide heroes. There's not much that is as strong as us if it's not a beast that lives to kill us.
Are there many females? I'll try and convince them to join the coven.
I mean,
You don't want to join.
there would be females. How exactly does that pan out, though?
It's not even Guts' coven. He's trying to get them to join. He's just starting his own harem.
Yeah. Well,
Come
no,
join
I'd
my
bet a
coven.
lot. If someone wanted to join my coven outside of like getting Zeus to do it, I'm gonna vet them super hard. This is
I'd-
an exclusive club.
I don't think you even can you? I think covens have to be 3 if it's the hags.
The more that are in the coven, the more powerful the coven is.
That's what I thought.
That's what I would've
3
thought too,
tends
but-
to be the prime number
Yeah.
for reasons, but again, you know, they did suggest bringing Zeus into it.
Like I said, exclusive club.
But unless we're grabbing any of the R NPCs, the other NPCs will again sort of, you know, do their training. And, you know, again, they're sort of in varying degrees of competency themselves. But Zydrone, Guts, going to the orphanage. Adrian?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Rick is going to stay and train. And then Tadpole.
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay. Well then, we will...
On an adventure.
And we will see how much of this area is blacked out. All of it. Fantastic.
All of it.
And we'll start with the outsides. And then we'll move into the gutty insides.
Oh, that is annoying.
Tell me about it.
The grids don't line up.
Oh yeah, tell me about that as well. We shouldn't be on a grid because of that, though. I might not have. Here, we'll
Yeah, that's better.
top the grid off. So, woo,
Whoa.
Guts is the bone wall.
Remember to bow to our skeleton overlords.
so I'm not
Yeah.
worried about some things right here. It should be noted that there is a large stairway here. It is a one-room place. So you can ignore that stairwell.
And the walls? Did you mean to
Not
say
think you meant to say one floor.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
one
floor. Yeah.
story. Sorry. I can't.
Tadpole, this is an orphanage. These are children. Please behave yourself.
I want you. I grew up in an orphanage.
Good. So you might have some respect for this building then.
I can beat these children into shape. Been there, done that.
Sounds good. As long as it's needless beating.
The best kind. Keeps them humble,
Yes.
like me.
I don't know about that.
But so does that mean we need to?
Can't seem to find his token, so I'm just going to use a person's token for right now. Don't know what happened. But either way,
Also, just because it should be noted, I am changing my reading spells like
Oh,
now, but
there
I
was.
did it during the night, obviously.
sure.
Just I'm deciding what I might need. That's
Mhm.
why I'm saying it now, so we don't move too far forward again. I need to cast something, and
I
I'm
understand.
all of a sudden like, I want that instead of that.
Well,
But I
yeah.
won't do that or that.
Would you be able to drag my token onto the thing room?
I sure can.
Thank you. Because I don't know why, but it's still big.
Bloop.
Thank you.
I also can't find my children tokens.
They're all gone.
Well, I also keep looking in the same place for them. Like, you know, it's going to change. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, my spells are done.
Oh my god, so I'm just gonna have to get some citizens from the bottom right here. And, you know, they're children. Blah. Big children.
Well, at least he feeds them properly. To be fair, you probably need to put a couple of children tokens down.
Yeah.
I could imagine there would be a few more than that.
Oh dear. The map is still an object, so here, let me change that real quick. You're sort of met on the steps by this gentleman. He sees you. He knows where you're coming from, obviously. And he nods to you as you're coming up. Business from the city?
Just on a quick side note, did we preemptively learn his name?
You would have heard it in passing, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we actually learned it or heard it or anything.
Like, he's not an NPC that was, like, introduced to us before or anything?
No, I didn't imagine so. But in that case, somewhat. We've heard tell and been asked to investigate some deaths that, for lack of a better word, some people were suspicious of.
I see. I suppose I would be one of those people.
I would hope so, if the children are in your care.
Indeed. Come inside. He beckons you all inside. He introduces you to the children. And there's about a dozen or so kids here and there. They look fed. They look well kept. Some of the older ones are sort of, helping out, taking care of the younger ones. Most of the ages range from about 14. There's 2 infants as well, and, they're being carried by some of the older children.
So are they all, like, is there the 2 infants are like the youngest and then the rest of them are kind of teen years?
They sort of vary. Like, there's, 1 or 2, like, 6-year-olds and whatnot. But most of them...
The oldest one would be 14.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Essence, what have you noticed that, from what we heard, not a lot of tracks or anything have been left, but surely something suspicious has happened recently.
Let's head into another room, if you would. I don't think it's necessarily worth bothering the children about, as it were. And he sort of brings you into what is pretty obviously, his quarters, if nothing else. I am somewhat embarrassed to admit this, but there's nothing, very little. We found, scant traces of blood in one of the rooms. What seems to have happened... I'm not one for ghost stories, as it were, but it's almost like there was a ghost that's come in the middle of the night. Most of the children sleep in either some of the common rooms or in their own bedrooms if they're old enough. They share, of course, but the younger ones will either sleep in with me in case I need to get up to tend to their needs or something of that nature. In one of the common rooms, a room where there were at least 5 others, someone snuck in during the night. The children swear they heard or saw nothing, but when we woke up, one of the little ones, Elish, 3 or so, was missing. In her bedrolls, there was next to her bedrooms, there was a very, very scant amount of blood. We searched for her and have come up with nothing.
So this is a one event thing? Like it hasn't happened multiple times or anything yet?
No, it's happened twice. The incident with Elish, and again, just the night before last night. Although this one wasn't while we were sleeping. They were out and about playing in the backyard. We keep it fenced. I don't know if you've seen. And that sort of depends on whether you went around first. But it was getting dark, and as we were coming in, another one, Bree, another child, around about 14, however, this time. As we were coming in, she did not come in. And again, we looked around and nothing. No tracks, no nothing. It's almost as if she vanished.
What
That
was the
is-
time period between the two disappearances?
Well, for us, it was 4 days. The first one happened on the first day you all arrived, frankly. And then 4 days later, this sort of happened. So,
Wow, time is
relatively
really
soon.
scary for you guys. Relatively soonly. I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the party, but if you would like, and if it would be okay, I do not mind sticking around for a couple of days. This time, I guess. I'm saying that like a couple of days going by their timeline as opposed to like
Mhm.
saying this time as in oh yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, you get what I mean.
I get it. Well, I certainly wouldn't mind a couple more eyes keeping look. That's for sure.
I also have an idea, but I'm loath to enact it if I do not have to. I have some way that, I mean, to be honest, let's face it, if whatever this thing is sees more well-equipped being in the area, it may not appear while we're here. So I have a way to possibly subvert that, and I would look at Guts and Tadpole at this point, and I'm, as I said, a bit loath to do it.
Well,
This is some sort of ritual or magic?
Of sorts, yes.
I understand your possible hesitations, but we are talking about the lives of children here.
It's the only reason why I might consider it. But it would require me to reveal certain aspects of myself to my company, which I will admit now to them I have kept hidden for the entire time I've known them. I'm also wondering how Guts and Tadpole would be reacting to this.
I just figured he's finally coming out.
yeah.
I mean, inner sorts, I guess.
I guess that just depends on how big the secret is.
And with that, I would although it's not being attacked on, I would still do this.
Essence attacks you.
So you see my I guess, form shift into a more null version. There's less features on my face, and I'm no longer dragonborn. Yes.
Wow. Well,
Took you long enough.
Yeah.
you're
and
always
then
ugly.
After
What a twist.
giving
Can-
the scary glare, I would settle into the natural, I guess, quote unquote, natural changeling form.
Mm-hmm.
I can disguise myself as one of the children and act as one of them. Maybe it might draw something out, or at least leave things at ease enough that it won't be scared to try again. And then at least there will be something possible of at least reacting if something happens.
I mean, that would work. Also, I mean, I am an adult of 6 years old, but I am still small.
Yes, but if you haven't noticed, there aren't exactly fantastical races amongst the
Are you saying I'm
children.
fantastic?
I would not go that far, but you're not exactly the standard humanoid, are you?
You're saying I'm more fantastic than a regular human.
You can take
I
it how
think I
you
could
wish.
agree on that.
You
Yeah.
can take it how you wish, we won, but yes.
Oh, I knew I liked you.
You may draw more attention than necessary, is what I'm trying to say.
I knew you
Although,
cared.
that being said, would we be able to disguise Tadpole well enough that she would be able to pass as a human child? Like, at least
It doesn't
from a...
Tadpole
non-
have like a hat of disguise or something?
Let's see.
I mean,
I
If she's
believe.
got something like that, then shit, yeah, she could do it. But I'm just thinking...
No. I have
disguise
thieves'
kits or
tools,
anything.
cook's utensils. I do not have disguise kit.
No,
Like a
The hat
magical
itself.
item, didn't you have?
yeah, I thought...
Oh,
you
yeah,
had
that's
it.
right. I do.
Yeah.
I got the hat.
Yeah.
Hat of disguise.
Well, then...
Booyah! I'm a human.
I'm a human baby. Nothing to see here.
Nothing
Just
to
a
see
human baby.
If you reminded me about that, then yes, I could. You could actually help me with this as well, Tadpole. And, I mean, being unseen isn't a skill I have. I hide in plain sight more than anything. You are actually able to be hidden a lot easier.
Hmm.
But I think, for the children's sake, Essence, we should not let them in on what's happening. Me and Tadpole, we will disguise ourselves and then come in as wards under your care. Us turning up now could be seen as a discussion to you looking after, I guess, our young one, which will be us.
He nods. If you're suspecting some of the other children, I suppose this would fool them. They don't have much interaction with the end of
Not
time
saying-
proper.
I'm not saying I suspect them, but you never truly know. Maybe some of the older ones have gotten mixed up in things they shouldn't.
Human
Yeah.
sacrifice.
As much as you no doubt do care for them and watch over them, they must have time to themselves now and then.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you're right. Well then.
Again, don't I wouldn't go so far as to cast suspicion on the children just yet, but for safety and to pass the guys better. I mean, children, not to call them stupid, but they don't think sometimes, and they may let things slip.
Indeed.
So if they have nothing to let slip, then they have no way to subvert our plan.
Well, then, I suppose the only thing to happen next, we end this conversation, and then you all, disguised, come back along with your parents to sort
Sounds
of
like a good plan.
pass stewardship.
Well, we shall see you no doubt within the next hour. We will go back to our party. We will discuss and tell them why we may not be around for some time, and we shall see you soon.
Okay. Rick.
Rick's turn.
I would like some athletics
Yes.
and acrobatics skill checks from you.
I'm having some internet troubles at the moment.
Sure. Would you like
And
to...
yes, before
ahead.
we leave, I would obviously put myself
Uh,
back in.
I heard athletics.
Right.
What was after that?
athletics, acrobatics. Of course, acrobatics is more if you're trying to show off. Which, I mean...
It's Rick. He's showing off.
Right.
Am I back?
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, we could hear you
Okay,
the whole time
okay.
anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything. Yeah, I can hear now. But yeah, what was after athletics?
Athletics and acrobatics. If you're sort of showing off. Athletics I definitely need. Acrobatics is more of an optional.
There'll definitely be a little bit of showing off.
I figured. Ugh, it's a bunch of rolls.
I'm not great at acrobatics, but I'm good at athletics.
Of course. So you're sort of showing some pointers across. And how exactly are you doing it? Are you going to and approaching like groups of quote the townsfolk going off, or are you going to more the important named figures and sort of showing off for them?
Probably not the important name figures, but I'd definitely like go up to the townsfolk and I'd be, hey, so who wants to learn how to fight like this?
He says he proceeds to bench press an entire building.
Yeah, you're strong, and it's pretty obvious that you're strong. You've been doing this for quite some time, and while, you're a barbarian, so, your form might be a little bit wilder than, say, like a straight fighter's or something. You're less into more of the technical aspects of combat, as you are more into the more effective things necessarily. If you understand what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm not going to be like a rapier fighter or anything. But you give me an axe and a tree, and I'll take it down in one hit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just picture like that stupid Abe Lincoln versus Vampires movie where he's
Yep.
cutting down trees with one hand.
Yep.
So as you're sort of watching, you're getting sort of a feel for the other people as well. And Orstat, he tends to have sort of a combat style much more akin to yours. He is using some sort of deeply, it looks like, magically enchanted trident. It's much more sort of primal, get in there, do a bunch of damage type thing, and then get back. So he tends to be a little bit on the sloppier side as he's teaching, but nowhere near as sloppy as Kegno is. What she does is she does wild, strange, primal strikes. She tends to use clubs. And even while this sort of sparring, she tends to break clubs a lot. Just sort of in the middle, there's a training dummy or something like that, or she happens to be swinging down on somebody's weapon as they're trying to receive a block, and she winds up breaking a lot of weapons, and she looks rather embarrassed about it for the most part. And as you are sort of doing your teaching and explanations, first people are watching you to make sure you actually know what you're doing. To be frank, I mean,
understandable.
But then they sort of leave you alone. Farron we've seen work before. She's most definitely one of the finesse type fighters. But after a while, Kegno comes over to you and she gives you the up and down. That's pretty impressive there.
I like to think so. As noticing you were breaking a lot of weapons. You must be putting a lot of force behind that.
Oh, yeah, it happens. It's just one of those things. She sort of, again, shrugs it off. She appears to be more embarrassed about it than proud about it.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about. In fact, you should be proud. It's good. It's good. The only reason I don't break my weapons is they're magically enchanted. Otherwise, I think they would be broken by now.
She nods. I do have a club that's somewhat enchanted, but of course that's more for, business purposes rather than sort of the everyday. It's still more worth it just to use, a disposable something other than, risk it. But I gotta say, I don't think I've ever come across anyone as strong as I am before.
Should we have a spa one day then?
We could probably do something like that. Not necessarily for the public eye, as it were, but I'd be pretty keen to try myself against you.
I didn't want to make any sort of spectacle of it. It's just, I haven't even met anyone that I think could be a challenge to me in one-on-one, even just hand-to-hand combat.
It's something to think about. We should definitely get together sometime.
I would, nothing else, be honored to fight alongside you.
I would too. And then things get really awkward from there. It's pretty obvious at this point that she is trying to flirt with you a little bit. She's awful at it.
I thought I was trying to do the same. We're both just terrible at it.
It's a lot of staring at feet and shuffling around and that kind of thing.
We're perfect for each other.
Blinking one eye at a time at each other.
But yes, as I mentioned, we've seen she uses clubs, Orsat's using a trident, Farron, of course, using the 2 daggers. Lurk, while he watches, he does not engage in any way. Again, everything's a show to Lurk. And for the most part, he enjoys the show. But around this time, and after a while of working up quite a sweat, the rest of the party would return.
Hi, guys!
Wait, just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you change back before
Yes,
coming back?
I did. But I am going to tell the rest of the party because I figure you guys will find out sooner or later when they turn around and tell you, oh, by the way, I'm going to disguise as a child. But you're like 7 feet tall. I'm going to disguise as a child.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I was just wondering, were you just walking back like that as a completely different person, or...
No. I come back as a drone, but I mean, I assume we would come up to you guys and be like, yo, we need to talk to y'all for a minute. And then, I mean, basically straight away I'd probably start with it and be like, apologies for the misdirection, or I guess lying to you about what I am and who I am, and then I'll drop the Dragonborn shift, and I'd say, this is my true mortal form, I guess you would call it. This is what I look like when I'm not in my preferred forms.
Very pasty.
Yes, I am well aware of that. I would be saying that through very clenched teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought you should know.
And basically, as soon as everyone had seen it, I would revert back to Zydrone, as you guys know him, and then go on. Well, we went and talked to Essence. He has no clue what might be causing it. He does not believe in ghost stories, but he still admits that it sounds like a ghost story. So me and Tadpole are going to go back to the orphanage and spend a couple of days there disguised as children to try and gain some hints or clues or find out what might be happening out there. So, I mean, unless you guys desperately need us right this second, if you need us in the next few days to a week, we will be out there. If we hear of anything, I will send something to you guys. It'll be some form of critter.
The pain
I can't-
tracker?
The thing with the lizard folk ritual?
Oh, right.
Neither Zydrone nor Tadpole have that.
I can't pre-tell you what my messenger might be, but keep an eye out for, I imagine, something akin to Adrian's familiar, some kind of small animal.
Why don't they see if they can hide in a small room off to the side or something, so they're actually there in case we need assistance immediately.
I can
Because
teach
if-
children necromancy.
Because if whatever this thing is doesn't follow the normal laws of this plane of existence, as in if it's from the ethereal planes or anything like that, the walls, they will not hide anything from it.
Well, you should take at least something like this with you. Oh, hey, they redid the. Why did they redo the thing? It's what?
Yeah, that's weird. Is that all kind of spells.
Can I
like
do
it.
I mean, I
what
kind
kind of a
like
check
that,
can I do
though.
to see if ghosts are actually from a different plane of existence, or
You
You
would
know.
need magic for that, but I've got plenty of spells based around that sort of stuff.
Ghosts are very typically not something that hangs around the city. They sort of break down after a while. A lot of the undead does.
I wonder what happened to Scav during all this.
Very specially non-sentient, which, I mean, I would consider a ghost to be more non-sentient undead. I guess with a grain of salt here or there, who knows?
Hey, Grim, Scav lived on this side of the city, right?
She sure did.
That's nice.
I'm not saying it is from the ethereal plane or anything like that. I'm just saying if it has such abilities that it can leave no trace whatsoever save for a small spattering of blood, then chances are someone hiding in the next room. I mean, there's a reason I didn't think of just doing that myself.
Even better, why it's not being a chill. You can just stay wild shaped as like the new cat or something. No one would expect the cat to do anything evil.
Are you kidding me? I fully expect the cat to do something evil over the children. Cats are dickheads.
Just be the new pet hamster.
But yeah, this is also so I can, so we can have someone else in the party involved in on this as well, rather than just me doing it all.
Well, if you need to see invisibility, come find me. It lasts for an hour.
Yes, I certainly will. Wait, can you write spell scrolls?
Yes?
What are the rules for spell scrolls? Can you just make
It's
me a
magic
spell
item
scroll?
crafting for using Xanathars.
Ah,
Takes
okay.
like maybe a week.
Ah, okay.
Must be different
Although-
rules. I don't know.
With time being funky, that might be like a couple of hours over orphanage time if you're spending a week here doing it. But no,
Well,
if
We're gonna
If we
fuck off
need-
to the corner of the room that goes 10 times faster.
yeah, if we need wizard spells, yeah, I've got conjure animals. I've got
I'm back.
Grim, are there any
Wizards.
rules with spell scrolls besides the crafting wise, besides Xanathar stuff?
No, not really.
Can the
Oh shit, never mind.
clerics do a like reverse ritual where they speed up time for you?
By the way, are we using stuff from Tasha's?
I'm still not super familiar with Tasha. If you run a specific change by me, we'll go on a case by case. Because I know Tadpole is doing one from Tasha's, but again, like, I haven't sat down and really read Tasha's.
I have level 20, I can give you the PDF too.
Yeah, and you don't gotta do that. I mean, the PDF is everywhere on the internet. I just haven't sat down and done it yet.
There's optional class features. What was this? Oh, there's just some new spells.
Yeah, but I mean, it's official stuff, and I'm usually fine with official stuff. I mean, I'm
Yeah, there's
usually
a
fine with
variant.
homebrew for that
There's a
matter.
variant. Sorry, there's a variant for wizard though. It's called cantrip formulas. Basically, you have a set of formulas in your spellbook. You can use to formulate the cantrip, like something at college would actually might teach the students, as opposed to a hedge mage. But it says whenever you finish a long rest, you can consult those formulas, and you can replace one cantrip with another cantrip from the spell list.
how do I make a child token without being put on watch lists?
God,
I don't know what to search for a picture of a child.
D&D child.
I
fully
thought
clothed, non-sexual child.
Yeah, I thought like fantasy child for a
No,
second, and
that's
I was
probably
like,
not a
no,
good
that
one.
is the wrong thing.
Ooh,
how
ooh.
you
Just-
get put on New
just-
Zealand's watch list.
Just Google the name of like a child from a popular TV show, like Bart Simpson.
Oh, please don't make Simpsons token.
No, I've got it. I've got it.
What's that? What's that kid that wears the suspenders and glasses and?
Urkel.
Yeah, Urkel.
Oh God.
But I'm probably okay with that, Adrian. Just, at some point, pop me like the page number and all that, and I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the spells now. I have some new ones I didn't see before. They have a weird tower thing. That's weird.
Right. But so back to our planning sort of thing. Are we all okay with just sort of Zydrone and Tadpole checking it out? Do we want more people checking it out, hiding something? What's sort of
I have an idea.
the
We
plan?
find a dead child and we put Gut's skull on their skeleton, so she looks like a skeleton child.
But with a big head.
Yes, like children
Head.
do.
I like the idea of having them hide. I just think splitting the party is never a good idea.
I mean, it's usually worked out well for us.
Has it though? Has anything worked out well for us?
Yeah, I mean, it tends to more be when we're all together that we all get fucked up majorly.
Like none of you have died recently.
I mean, I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of working out, right?
Oh, there's new regions in here. Blessed Radiance, Four Realm, Haunted Regions, the Mirror Zone. Ooh. Magical phenomenon like primal fruit, mimic colonies, eldritch storms. Neat. I was looking for spells.
Letting me change my token.
Uh,
It's changed in the list, but it's not changing it when I drag it on.
I'm confused for a second.
see.
Why is Bladesinger and
That's because
Tasha's-
you've changed your avatar and not your token.
But there's no token option under it.
Well, here, because token is a DM thing.
Ah, okay. Just for the next couple of days.
Ugh.
Guys, there's a genie patron now.
I also don't know why it's not an actual token. Like, I fully made it a proper token and
What?
everything. I used token stamp.
What show was that from? I swear I remember that show.
It's Pocoyo.
Oh, yes, it is.
I'm sorry, where is? God damn it!
All right, so the plan.
Fuck up. That's the plan.
Well, I mean, it's really doesn't. Like I say, I would prefer to have the group hiding in the other room, and if nothing happens for a couple days, then send them away. But if there's strong feelings the other way, then that's okay too.
We have new
I'm
summons.
not too bothered either way. Like, I don't have strong feelings about it. It's just I think it would be better. So it's up to the rest of the party. We could also just say, who wants to actually do it? Because do they want to just sit in a room for 3 days not doing anything?
I have time to work on my ritual.
I mean, wouldn't you rather do that in something resembling a lab, though?
What? I didn't hear what you said.
Wouldn't you prefer to do that in something resembling like your lab or something? Like, obviously you don't have your actual lab to work in.
I don't
But
I think he meant staying at the Enclave and doing it, not doing it at
Oh,
the
yeah.
orphanage.
Okay, yeah. Oh well, then yeah. In that case, that's fine. Like having
Was it
the
Farron or
the
Keiko
giant.
that I was thinking with. Can I bring Kegno with me?
No. We're trying to protect children, not make more of them.
I mean, Kegno would sit back here in the city and do her own thing. You're more than welcome to, you know, awkwardly flirt with her back in the city and whatnot, but like, she's not going out. She's concerned about the missing children, of course, but
She has other concerns as well.
right.
So both of them have something they want to do in the actual city. So does Guts maybe want to come with us? Do you have any way to disguise yourself, Guts? Oh, you can just be a bag of bones.
Yeah, I could either be a bag of bones, and I also have major image.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah, but that's burning.
Yeah,
That's
true,
what-
and it's
that's,
up to 10
what,
minutes.
An hour
so-
concentration. Oh, only 10 minutes. Well, then, yeah, that's even worse.
Did I
Yeah.
taste?
No, I could just
Yeah, I
hide
reckon
in
we should at
someone's
least-
pack.
Yeah, take Guts as a bag of bones.
On the note, I'd like to remind everyone, I can scry now.
Yeah, I've
Can-
been able to scry for a while now.
Why took
So-
spell from my-
Where's Tadpole? Why doesn't Tadpole exist?
I could what?
What?
Huh? I said, where is Tadpole's token? Why does Tadpole not exist? I swear you were here.
No, she doesn't.
Although
She's not
we are
here.
still going
Oh, I thought
to
it was on
need,
there. Sorry.
It's alright.
we
Oh,
are
I am-
still
I am
going to
right there.
need
Yeah, I just pulled you on.
we are still going to need Adrian or Rick to drop us off. 'Cause,
Well, you've got other
three-
NPCs as well, but
Oh yeah, that's actually a point. Let's get Hart to drop us off.
oh yeah, where's Hart?
Hart Daddy.
I wanted to be the weird father.
Like, apparently,
Because-
other than Hart, like literally all the NPCs we took with us, with the exception of Reg, who I don't think
No, you
counts,
can have the hag.
are
drop you off.
female.
You could go with Hart and be the really weird father.
Yeah.
I'm the other daddy.
Don't
You
ask.
should have the hags drop you off. That'd be funny.
Don't question our love.
I mean, I was just
No, no, no,
thinking
no, no,
Hart
no,
because
no,
he
no,
could
guys,
basically
guys,
just
guys.
turn up and be like, "I found these kids. I'm not the daddy type. You take them."
Guys, you should have Reg drop you off.
I mean, Hart would be willing to do that. These are my children. Don't ask. They look a little weird, but
I just look like a barbarian. I'm actually a barbarian.
but you know, Hart and any of the hags can disguise themselves as well. This is just
Yeah.
their preferred form. I
Yeah.
mean, but it is, you know, pure illusion.
Either way, either Hart or the sisters, and then I guess we'll pack Guts up into a bone pile. And do you have you have your bag of holding, eh? Obviously, Tadpole.
It's dark in here.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got my
'cause-
back holding.
Guts doesn't need oxygen or anything like that,
Nope.
so she doesn't have to stay in there 10 minutes at a time. She can just live. Oh,
She can just
wait.
be a bag of bones underneath the bed.
She could be in my lamp. She doesn't even need to be in a pile of bones form. She can be in my lamp and live in luxury for a week.
Woo! And that's vacation.
So yes, like Hart and one of the hags, probably Sue because she's the nice one at the moment.
Bye, Sadie.
Take you all to the orphanage. They make sort of a pageant of dropping off you as the children, and then Guts is, you know, a random bones in a bag.
She is a random bones in a lamp in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
In a bag, in a bag, in a bag.
And that is where we are. So, again, before we deal with that, back to here. Adrian, would you like to work on your thing?
Sure.
There are two questions with that. would you like to, and believe me, I'm fine with either way you choose. Would you like to do sort of the more standard thing where you become the man, the only word I could think of is the Neapolitan, but that's the ice cream.
Right?
The
Necropolitan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That's what it's called.
I couldn't remember if it was exactly the
Yeah,
same or
it's
not.
like, yeah, I want to become an undead ice cream. That's my goal.
Or we can make up a table with some random things on it, and we could sort of, just roll and pick and choose things. Because, this is sort of a passion project of, the last several days of the people in the Enclave. This isn't something necessarily they're adept at, but, they're wizards, and wizards like to tinker.
Go for Lichdom. Go for the random one. You might be another Guts or you might be a Lich. Do it.
But the Necropolitan are going to have a form of minor lichdom.
Oh, that's not bad then. But what if you want to be a Demi-Lich?
Oh, it depends on what's on the table, honestly.
Yeah,
Be
I
a
don't
floating
know.
ball.
Like I said, I mean, we'd have to come up with some things on the table. But to be frank, there would be some good things on the table, and there would probably be some less good things on the table. So it would be, a
gamble.
chance of not exactly getting what you want.
We'll go for the evil I know.
Okay. So that's what you're going to be sort of doing over the next couple of days.
And every now and then I'll check in on the scrying table on the kids, like a good parent. like a baby monitor.
Rick. So you've got some downtime as well for this one that you're sort of doing, and you're sort of got Kegno on the table. But is there anything else that you would sort of like to be doing? But
Which one's Kegno again?
The Orc.
Dog.
I am bad with names.
You're gonna have some ugly children though, eh?
Don't you dare talk about my children like that.
Don't talk about my non-existent children. What you doing though, Rick?
as far as the NPCs, the only really important NPCs as well, and because I'll get back to you, Rick, because I'll give you some time to think, is that the other hags are going to be working with Zoosh a bit.
Can I become a super lich hag?
Maybe.
Yes.
And then there's me. I just want a magic item.
We'll give you the teleport belt.
Ooh.
Preferably not a cursed magic item.
Oh,
I just have to make you desperate enough to use it. That's my new goal.
God.
What are you talking about desperate enough? We were fully keen on just straight up
I-
slapping it on and using it.
I
You
still
told us
want to
not
press
to.
the button. I still want to press the button.
That's true.
Just on a side note, the orphanage half the party has the non-claimed magic items. Just in case Rick gets bored.
As far as I know, I believe they're in either Tadpole's or Adrian's magic sack bag of holding.
Yeah, I forget that Adrian has a bag of holding as well, so I just assumed Tadpole is kind of like... I mean, I know it's a stupid thing, but yeah, the rogue is kind of the treasurer.
So again, other than sort of working with Kegnon, Rick, is there anything particular or pressing that you would like to do, sort of in downtime?
I'll probably maybe just talk to Orsted about potential scouting locations and
Okay. And, if we come up with things, we can go ahead and bring them up
Yeah.
as we come up with them as well.
mainly just general things like helping out and all that. Just mainly staying back so I can hang around Kegno.
Getting to know people, other than Kegno, I would assume. Yes or no? Or you know...
Oh, like, I assume there'll be spare time, yeah? Yeah, I'll go get to know heaps of people. Well, maybe not heaps, but however many I can.
Sure.
I just picture Rick walking around being like, "Hi, I'm Rick, what's your name? Hi, I'm Rick, what's your name? Hi, I'm Rick, what's your name?"
And then spinning around and being like, "Oh, hey, Kegno."
All right. So again, back here at the orphanage, what exactly are we doing with Guts? And that sounds very... I understand, but...
I mean, it's up to her, really. She can either be a bag of bones in the bag of holding, or she can be in my lamp, which gives food, water, and basically allows you to live luxurious lifestyle while
Things
you're
that
in it.
Guts can't use: food and water.
Yeah, I know, but still, she still eats and drinks for enjoyment.
No, when we level up
Can-
again soon. Bones
Can you
won't
use the
all day.
lamp?
Can I use the lamp? What do you mean?
Sorry. I must have got it. I was going to say, can you use the lamp, like, as an actual lamp? So you could just put it on your bedside table and
No,
not
it's
be
like
suspicious with it at all?
It's not an actual, like...
Yeah. I don't think it's actually like an oil lamp. You just... Yeah. I don't think he... I mean, to be fair, I
technically,
have...
those lamps were lamps, they just were weird lamp, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't you have a wick in those with oil or something?
Yes.
Yeah, you fill it up with oil and stick a wick through the stem thing.
I'm just not sure how that would interact with the demi-plane inside of it.
Would have to.
That's an interesting question. So what'll it be, Guts? I mean, and then another option, and far be it for me to, give you guys options, is just to be, a pile of bones cleverly hidden somewhere.
Or
That
just
is
have
also-
them be her, like,
I don't.
you're the new doll, that your skull's just attached to something. You're a creepy doll.
I'll go on the lamp.
Adorn your garments with her.
It's nice in the lamp. It is kind of, you don't perceive things going on outside the lamp, but there's nice music playing.
If
Very
we
nice.
ever need you, you'll basically just be ripped out and thrown into whatever situation we're going into without knowing what's going on yourself. But
If that's the
Yes,
price I
eh?
have to pay, that's the
Yeah.
price I have to pay.
you're safe and you're not really on this plane of existence, so hopefully you're kept out of sight.
Very good.
Oh no.
I'm blind.
I think we've gone to Guts' plan.
Yeah.
So let me get persuasion rolls from Tadpole and from Zydroan.
Persuasion?
Persuasion.
No performance?
I mean, I'd hope I don't need performance. Oh my god! Really? Really? 2 crits? Can I guidance that? Can guidance be used after the fact, or does it have to be used before?
Oh, it's kind of a before thing.
Oh, it can roll the die before or after making the ability check.
Oh, okay.
So let's just change that 1 to a 4.
Let's just change that 1 to a 2.
So very quickly, the both of you sort of get the reputation of being the weird kids.
Oh, that's fine. I've always been the weird kid.
Haha, you're the neighbor's kids.
And they're not exactly eager to share with you or play with you or do things. So you're sort of already set up, very quickly as the loners of the group. which, may or may not be to your advantage.
The orphanage just be like, oh, look, new people, shun them.
Yeah.
But as mentioned before, Essence runs a pretty tight ship as it comes to things. There's a lot of school. There's a lot of practical knowledge being taught from Essence to you all. You can tell pretty easily that he cares about the kids, and it's more than just. It's his job, He cares about the kids.
Is a kid
Like an unhealthy amount of cares about the kids?
No. I don't know why you would go there immediately.
I just want a reason to burn this place down, okay?
He cares about their well-being.
Just wants to burn an orphanage.
Oh my goodness. It's also a little bit more than an orphanage. An orphanage is certainly what it is on the surface. But, there are sort of things that need to happen here and there where time needs to progress. This is where that sort of thing is done. So there are visitors here and there now and again. It's certainly not an uncommon thing for people to come by and check on something, make sure hides are tanning, that sort of thing, vegetables are growing, or herbs, things of that nature. These sort of little odds and ends where it's kind of important for time to progress in a meaningful way. They sort of get handled here at the orphanage. A lot of the time... Go ahead.
Do you want just one insight roll to do a general check of people who come and go, since that's, the reason for I'm being here, or do you want separate ones for everyone?
No, we can sort of do a general thing, and we'll pop it off to advantage as well.
Alright. So it's 29.
They mostly seem on the up and up. They don't exactly like being here at the orphanage. Because, again, for the most part, the adults realize that, well, every moment they're here, they're aging, and they've come to the conclusion that that is not a thing that they would like to do, given the option, which they have at the moment. So when people come, they tend to be very, very quick about doing their things. There's not even a lot of interaction. Parents generally don't come by to see their children. They've sort of been shipped off here to be forgotten about until they can, maybe come back into society, quote unquote. Yeah, be useful, I suppose. And things sort of steadily progress this way for about 3 days or so. And then we're sort of coming up in on the 4th day. We're outside, and we're sort of playing. Essence, while he often sort of, is with the kids, sometimes he has his own thing he happens to do. And it just so happens that he is off sort of doing his own thing. As I draw in... No, you actually are there.
What's that?
Nothing. I was thinking about the other tokens and whatnot. Can I get a perception check from Zydroan and Tadpole?
Yep.
And I'm going to be making a hidden check as well.
I'll give guidance to Tadpole.
Okay.
Seeing it as its cantrip. Man, can I just apply that to all skill checks?
Within reason.
I was just meaning, like, can you just set it up to instantly roll on your sheet?
I do not know.
Yeah.
So most of the kids have started heading in at this point. You guys are sort of the last stragglers, sort of out and about. And of course, Guts is in the lamp.
Yes.
And then you more sort of just barely catch a glimpse of what looks like a snake coming towards you. Very slowly, very methodically, but unmistakably happening.
Under my
What
breath.
kind of snake?
Under my breath, I will cast that, and I'll look at the snake, and in my very perfectly guised child voice, because I can do that, and I'm not even going to try to do a child's voice, so I'm just going to do it in my voice. I'll say, "Hi, Mr. Snake." So it would, to someone else, just look like a child speaking to an animal, but it should be able to understand me.
Okay, so sort of what I glean from that is basically you're talking in your language, and then you also have the added ability of being able to communicate with animals. You're not necessarily speaking in,
I'm not speaking snake.
snake-ese, yeah.
Yeah, it's more like the snake can understand me. It doesn't really word it the best. It just kind of says you can verbally communicate them. It doesn't even
Right.
say that you need to share a language or anything.
The snake sort of pauses very sharply. And then you hear a voice maybe 5 or 10 feet back, just very softly. What?
Reg,
Why does that sound like Reg? I said, "Hi, Mr. Snake," and then I'll look up to behind the snake. Or I guess whoever's out there behind Mr. Snake?
Hello? Small child?
is Reg?
Is it actually our Reg, or is it another shadow crab? Like, I feel like we would know our Reg.
Sure looks like you're Reg.
I would sigh very deeply and say, "Reg, has this been you?"
No, small child. I'm magic.
Reg,
And
I know
I'm-
you're magic.
I'm
I
here
live
to
with
make
you.
your wishes come true.
Reg, I live with you. Listen to my voice, and I'll let Zydrone's voice come through now, coming through the child, and I'll say, "Reg, I know you, and you know me."
Reg isn't here right now.
Reg, don't make me
Please
do
leave a
things that
message.
one of us might regret, and I will also call Tadpole over if she hasn't noticed, and I will pull out my lamp and giving a quick look around to make sure the rest of the children are inside.
There
Are
is
there?
a single child still outside.
I don't want to cast a spell on the child. I won't pull my lamp out then, but this child's still going to be scared the fuck out of the fact that there's a fully grown adult voice coming from another child. Wow, we really are the weird kids, aren't we?
You are the weird kid.
Yes.
You come by it honestly.
I'll just say, "Reg, It's me, Zydron.
Hello.
Have you been visiting here?
Yes.
Did you need fresh? Is that why you've been visiting?
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Not the first time. But I was so hungry, and they were so very fresh. You understand, right?
Somewhat, but it doesn't.
I couldn't help myself.
It doesn't make it good, but I do sort of understand. We know your predicament, we know what you like, and we left you alone without fresh, but at the same time, they're children, man. Come on, even you must be able to see the difference between children.
I didn't think anyone would miss them.
Well,
No.
to be fair, not many do, but it has still caused a little bit of a stir.
I won't do it again.
I mean, I would hope not, but at the same time,
To these
Like-
ones.
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. What is this other child doing during all this? Like,
She seems to be playing with something in the dirt, whether a doll or she's drawing something in there. Like, there's a tiny little bit of light where there is, from candles or something like that, and she's mostly huddled underneath it.
If
But
it's
she's not
ancient
like-
dark symbols, we're adopting that child. If it's just fancy cat
she's
drawings,
not
it's
like
just-
focusing on us or
And
anything.
not particularly. You guys are the weird kids. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not weird that you're talking to yourselves.
Oh, I'm gonna sigh, and I will also. Where is it? I've got to find it. I know I've got it. Animal Messenger, where are you? There.
Mm-hmm.
And is the snake? Is it one of Reg's arms? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thought it might be.
That's
I
awesome.
guess I will also combine it with that as well, because I need to actually summon
Hmm.
a woodland creature because I don't see any around. But I will tell it to go find the big red dragonborn in that direction, pointing towards the edge of time, and I'll tell him to say, "We found what happened at the orphanage. We forgot to feed Reg." And just leave it at that for now. And then kind of want to feed this child to Reg.
No.
Not gonna lie.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna.
You're
I'm
the
not
weird
gonna.
kid really bad.
That's like a huge alignment shift.
I mean, not really. I am evil.
You're not only the weird kid, but you're the weird kid to be like, don't come to the orphanage tomorrow and then send a picture of a crab.
I'm not going to. I just want to. But I've got my housemate in the background screaming, "Do it!"
I heard him.
Fucking do it.
No, I will. I will tell Reg that we will come see him tomorrow and to go back to Rick. And he's not necessarily in trouble, but I imagine Guts at the very least is going to be upset with him. To maybe try and guilt trip him a little bit.
But it does mean I shouldn't eat anymore, right?
Preferably, yes. Please refrain from eating the children here or anywhere else near end of time. Find other woodland creatures or something. Other things. There's surely plenty around.
But no other ones are quite so fresh.
I know. We will try figure something out for you. Like I said, we know what you're like, Reg. Just we thought this was going to be a bigger deal than you, and it may cause a bigger deal for us because it's you.
But nobody has to know, right?
It's what I would prefer, that nobody found out that it was you, or else we might have to give you up. And even I'm a little bit fond of you, and I know the rest of the party is too.
I don't think I'd like that.
No, so can you at least just try to refrain from eating humanoids in the future that we don't give you?
I'll try my best.
And in return, I will try and find you something nice fresh to eat. I will do it myself if I need to.
Oh,
And yes,
it's a deal.
and yes, for those who are wondering, that is me promising to kidnap someone for Reg.
Goodness.
Very good.
I would probably wait until that child goes inside and continue being the weird kid, and then at a time where... Are these toilets?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd come around behind them somewhere and pull Guts out of the lamp. Just out of sight, out of anyone who might be looking out windows and everything, and I'd let her know the new developments we just found out.
And Reg, would have left as stealthy as he arrived.
Yes.
Eventually.
I would have given the snake a pat on his way out.
Oh my God.
Because I assume he was on the other side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I would pull Guts out and I'd be like, well, we know what's been stealing the children now. It was Reg. We forgot to leave him with Fresh.
Well, I can't say I'm not surprised. But I do... Oh my God. What a mess.
It's still not exactly ideal, especially if the rest find out the truth. We need to find something, some kind of explanation for this.
Maybe we just say nothing happened. That we don't know.
Possible, but at the same time, there was a child outside, and even if we are, I guess, somewhat ostracized here and not seeing eye to eye with the other children. Oh yeah, by the way, me and Tadpole have managed to make ourselves the weird kids somehow, which is, just grand. But, I mean, children, they can be a bit odd sometimes. Sometimes they clue on or see more than they let on. She may not have seen or heard what was going on, but at the same time, there's a possibility. I mean, I have means of making her forget, but I'm loath to
Maybe we can
cast
say that
such magic on a child.
Yeah, no, I don't think we should.
I can just threaten her with her life.
Oh my God.
It's probably just as bad as using a spell to make her forget.
Well, what I think, maybe we can say we ran it off.
Oh, hang on. Hang on. I could cast another one of this. summon some form of Fey snake, and then kill said Fey snake. Fey creatures quite often have some form of misty step or some form of planes travel. But
Yeah.
if they look too deeply into it, they will probably gain knowledge of the fact that there's traces of summoning and everything, so we would have to make sure it's a good argument or make a show or spectacle. Wait, you have polymorph too, right, Guts?
Yeah, I have polymorph.
We could polymorph it into something else.
Yeah, we could do that.
It's a snake that polymorphs into a T-Rex. We had to kill it, sorry.
We could just make it look like Reg, but not quite. Like different colors or something.
I think we need to have it completely away from anything that looks like Reg, or else they'll be like, no, we don't trust anything that looks like a shadow crab anymore. Kill all shadow
Well, I mean,
crabs.
more like not like a crab, but like a spider, something with legs.
Yeah.
What if instead of a crab he was a lobster?
He's a rock lobster. So should we try that then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, in that case, I will burn another spell slot, summon another Fey woodland being.
Mm-hmm.
Guts can polymorph it into something. Oh, wait,
Yep.
no, never mind.
What?
If it drops to 0 hit points, it disappears.
Yeah.
So we lose our proof then. Summon it, polymorph it, he comes out as we're fighting it.
What are you gonna polymorph it to?
That's what I'm thinking about. What should we polymorph it to, Guts? This is more of your call. You'd know what Guts would know in terms of beasts and stuff more.
Can we polymorph it into like one of those nasty like white spider things
Yeah.
that we fought in the forest?
Yeah.
Now
Still
this
have
is
one of
just
those.
out of character here. But what if you would have killed that kid that was outside and say it was them?
I mean, that was an idea of mine, but at the same time, like, you know, we've been a pretty morally ambiguous party. Like Grim said, that is a huge shift from morally ambiguous. That is just straight up, like, Adrian may as well become a lich.
It's evil.
Guts may as well become a bone wall, and we may as well just start burning orphanages at that point. But I do like the white spider idea.
I still have one of those.
Yeah, I no longer have my old tokens or whatnot.
I don't know where it is, but it still exists.
I mean, well, I got the white spider token, but I don't have the original token anymore. I had to
That's
delete
fine.
them to make room.
Well, as Guts is polymorphing it, I'm going to, still as a child, because incidentally my changeling doesn't affect anything else, I'm going to use Thunderwave to try and draw some attention out here, but I'm going to do it far enough away from the spider that I don't wipe it out of existence with one hit.
Sure.
So
And
Well, you can hear that from like ages away.
I mean, I
Yeah.
could just grab one of my instruments and make a loud racket.
Well, I'm thinking like actual combat sounds will probably bring Essence out and not bring the children out as well.
Oh, true.
So a sudden boom erupts as the spider appears, and then we are fighting a spider, which I imagine will be more of a
Man,
putting
we-
it out of its misery.
right. We're not actually rolling to fight this spider.
Nah, I mean they were a decent fight when we were level 2, but I think at level 10, yeah, we're just gonna basically step on it.
Right. And that's
But
pretty
we
much
will
how
make
it is.
sure we don't kill it until Essence is outside.
Mhm. You boom, Essence and a couple of the kids come out. Again, Essence sort of ushers them back in. He sees that, there's a thing there, and he adopts a fighting stance of sorts.
That's fine. He can join us in the fight. We should be able to make sure he doesn't die. He gets one hit.
Just collapses.
I've never actually wielded a sword before. Smashes himself in the face.
No, well, he's not using weapons. He's using his fists and whatnot.
It's just like, I've got to protect these kids, gets so worked up, has a heart attack, dies.
But either way, I guess, you sort of, once he is there looking, you put a very quick end to this somewhat confused spider.
Poor woodland creature. And as soon as it drops to the ground, I will turn around and say, well, I think that this may have been your issue, and hopefully at some point during my sentence it would disappear, which would possibly allude to the fact that it can come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Or is of some kind of magic descent. It seems to go after them if they're, I won't say by themselves, but it has an opportunity, or had an opportunity to feel like it would have the upper hand. As you can see, if you know how to deal with it, less of an issue.
Mm-hmm. Let me get a deception roll from you.
Fuck yeah.
From all of us?
No.
Deception. Hang on.
Let me do a little bit of bardic inspiration.
Why did I roll terribly? I rolled terribly. Do I not get advantage for the fact that we gave good credible proof?
Huh?
I mean, it could just be
So-
the fact he doesn't.
What that winds up with is a 17 to his 18. Which isn't too far off, but there's something you're not telling me.
This
We
may
think-
not have been the only one. We might have to go find some form of nest. I mean,
roll deception again.
Just roll better this time, man. Come on.
yeah, I'm still holding my concentration, so it's okay. But, oosh, fucking one.
Bro!
Fuck these rolls, man!
I should do this.
You
Oh,
really should have. Why weren't you talking, Guts? Why are you
I
letting
was
me
trying
talk?
to.
Ah, yes. I still outplayed him.
More of them, you say. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad. I rolled a 6.
I mean, I can't be 100% sure. I am kind of grasping at straws in saying this, which is, I mean, why I can't say with full certainty, but creatures like this, they don't tend to live solitary lives.
Alright. Well, now we know what we're dealing with. We can make some sort of plan for it. Thank you.
It's
Yeah, no
fine.
problem.
At least we have some idea of what's causing it.
That way,
Even
we
if
can
it's
prepare.
not necessarily sorted out just yet, we can, or at least the orphanage can take means to defend itself in the future. I mean, as much as I wish we could say we can stay here and guard the orphanage, the fact of the matter is we do have other things we need to do as well.
Right.
We weren't about to leave children to their fate, essentially. He says, with the thought of feeding the child to Reg still in his mind.
Right. Well, it isn't the first time something like this has happened. I find it so odd. I'm not bad at what I do, and I protect the children. But I never would have thought it'd be something this large around. I would have sworn there was no trace of trails or tracks or anything, but
As you can see, there's no trace of its body after we've slain it. It could be anything. It could be some anomaly from the time, or it could be something from another plane. I mean, I haven't experienced this creature itself before. In fact, I haven't really experienced very many creatures that disappear once you slay it.
It certainly is strange.
Shut up, Rick. Thank fuck you're not there.
I was meaning someone else, but
Yeah, let's just not put it in their mind that it was summoned. What is the chit?
So I rolled, by the way, and again, I did do it sort of quietly, but I'll tell you.
Oh, that's fine.
I rolled to see if it left tracks and whether it hid tracks. So I rolled a 4 to do that. So yes, it definitely left tracks. And then I rolled to see whether Essence could spot said tracks. And I rolled a 2.
So he did not see the tracks.
He did not see said tracks.
I mean, to be fair though, how many tracks could it have left that
Yeah, I mean,
weren't part of that combat? I mean, it appeared on the spot, was polymorphed, and then died, maybe a foot or two away from its spot.
well, I mean, there was enough time to cast a, Thunderwave near it, but not hitting it. So it would have certainly shuffled around in confusion, if nothing else.
It still worked out somewhat.
It sure did. Either way, I think this is where we're going to go ahead and bring an end to the episode.
Sounds good. This was a good one. We definitely needed it after 2 weeks of no click-clacks.
Very, very eventful.
Yeah. So,
Not Japanese click-clacks.
in the next one, I want to resolve some of our downtime, activities. And so I know I have this habit of saying what we need to do, we need to post in Discord. But I really mean it this time, because right now all I know is what Adrian and Rick are doing, but I presume other people will want to do things as well.
I mean, I don't think the three of us have had much downtime in this part because
Right.
we've been dealing with this orphanage thing. So I think it is just dealing with Adrian and Rick's stuff. I mean, beyond that, Zydrone would probably just be honestly not doing much else.
Well, what I'm saying is now is an opportunity to do these things before we start on the next thing.
Oh, okay, so we can have some more downtime from this point if we
Yes.
wanted. So we can say, next week we're picking up a week from
Right.
after the orphanage event. Yeah.
But,
that's fine.
Until then, if you've been watching us, thank you for watching us. It was kind of a fun one. How many people saw instantly that it was Reg doing all the stuff?
Nope.
It wasn't me.
I was suspicious when you said the first one happened when you guys showed up. I was like, what did we do this time?
I honestly did not think anything of it. Until you actually said that we saw a crab, I thought even the snake was something to do with it. I thought it was legitimately some kind of summoned snake or something.
Oh, yeah.
I did not see it coming.
That was a good one. That was Grim.
Well, I'm
I
glad
didn't
that I
see
got
it.
a couple of you by surprise, at least.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see it being Reg. I didn't see it being Reg. That was out of the blue. But I could just tell it had something to do with us. It
I mean,
just
it's
had to.
D&D. It's D&D. It always has something to do with the party.
Right.
It's always the party's fault in one way or the other. The fact we
You just
exist brings all this woe onto the world.
You're the forces of change upon the world.
Exactly.
For good
But no,
or bad.
time amidst a child getting eaten.
That was definitely a good twist to come back to for the new year. Now we've got to have words with Reg.
Now we gotta have some words with Reg.
So it's not even like you could call him evil because he's doing it. It's just nature for him. It's not a factor of alignment or anything. He just gets hungry. He
That's
doesn't
true.
see things like we do.
But either way, like I said, I think this is where we're going to end it. If you've been watching, thank you for watching. I certainly appreciate it. We've actually had a fair amount of people watching today. More than we typically get in one of these days. So, hooray!
Yay!
But either way, we're going to pick up next week unless, I don't know, the sky falls out of the sky or something like that weird happens.
Yeah, that would be pretty weird.
It would be. Very
Not gonna lie.
confusing, as a matter of fact. So again, thanks. Hope you have a great day, and bye-bye!
Get out of my face, dog.
Uh-huh.
Reg is the bad guy all along.